what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a very different type of video. So if you're not here for all the serious stuff, you can go ahead and just kind of click off this one. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow, hopefully. As cliche as it sounds, this is a video that I didn't want to make per se, but that I felt like I needed to make, as cliche as that sounds. So I'm not going to waste anybody's time. Let's just dive right into it. If you've been feeling like down, anxious, unmotivated, have been having problems with like confidence or believing in yourself, I really need you to hear me out throughout this video. Lately, more than ever, with the rate that my channel has been growing, I've been having more and more people, especially on like the younger side, you know, like between young adult to like older teenagers, whatever, texting me and being like, hey, how do I start a channel? Hey, how do I start content creation? Hey, you know, I don't feel like I'm very good at this. I'm awkward. I'm ugly. I can't do this. And I'm just going to address and answer all of your questions and everything I've been like asked in the last couple of weeks in just this one video. Not only am I going to answer that, but I'm also going to try to give anybody else that's looking to do literally anything else just like a bit of a beacon of hope or a little bit of further motivation, using my past experiences to kind of explain the changes between who I was and where I was versus where I am now and who I am today, and how as long as you really put yourself into it and you're willing to work towards your goals, anything is possible. Even if you think that you are in the deepest pit that you cannot dig yourself out of, trust me, there is always a way to turn your life around. So first, I want to start this video out with a bit of a life story. It's not going to be like going in depth on every little aspect of my life up to this point, but I still want to hit like the major plot points of my life per se, just to kind of drive the point home that no matter what happens to you, you can turn things around. So let's start at chapter 1 of my life. I'd call it like you know, the first decade of my life per se. Growing up. Now, throughout this video, anytime I talk about anything sad, I'm not looking for pity. I'm not looking for people being like, oh my god, I'm so sorry you went through that. I don't give a shit about any of that. Shit happens, what can you do? But anyway, growing up, I didn't live in the best household. You know, my parents were addicts. My dad was abusive. It wasn't a very pretty scene. Parents were fighting all the time, waking up at 3 a.m. hearing glass shattering. That was not anything new. I honestly fail to remember a time before stuff like that happened on a daily basis. Screaming, fighting, being broke as shit. I'm not new to any of it. Now, this is going to seem completely unrelated for now, but as a kid, anytime that fighting was happening, there was one thing that I always had. Video games. Anytime they were fighting, anytime they went to sleep after a long fight or a long, you know, drunk session, I would be in the living room playing the PS2. Name a game. I played through like so many different PS2 games. Name a game, I probably have some sort of nostalgia for it from that generation. But for me, games like SpongeBob, Battle for Bikini Bottom, Spider-Man Web of Shadows, the PS2 version, Lego Batman, like stuff like that. I'd be up playing games like that. So I would be up playing those games, and that was that. That was just kind of how I got through life for a while, you know what I mean? And then roughly in 2010, my parents got a divorce. I had to go live with my dad. Us as kids, we got to choose where we wanted to go, and for some reason, I was a dumb little kid, and I decided to go with my dad. Thankfully, I was only there for a couple of months, but if I could take back anything in my life, that is one of the things I would take back. Normally, I'm all like, everything happens for a reason, you know, you don't want to take back anything, but there was no life lessons and nothing to be gained or learned from that experience. I got nothing from that. That is one thing I would take back. That was the worst decision of my life. Eventually, I went back to live with my mom, and same situation. We were broke as shit for a while, living in like one of those half houses, if you know what I mean. Fast forward a couple of years to middle school, I started hanging out with the wrong people. I was getting kicked out of schools. I got kicked out of my main district several times. I was constantly getting suspended or detention or whatever, you know. I was doing the stupidest stuff imaginable, man. I was smoking cigarettes in the bathroom, leaving school in the middle of the day, like starting food fights, like the dumbest stuff in the world, picking fights with people, getting into fights, screaming, punching, you name it, selling illegal substances on school property. Like, I was doing the dumbest stuff imaginable. I was talking all ghetto. Yeah, believe it or not, by the way, back then I used to talk real ghetto. Like, obviously now I talk like a normal human being, but back then I was, you know, I was trying to act all ghetto for no reason. It's honestly so embarrassing. I was wearing like XL clothes, walking around like, hey, what's up, homies? Yeah, screw this school, man. I was so freaking stupid. I want to go back and bitch slap the fuck out of younger me. And from there, I just kept spiraling out of control between middle school up through high school. Drinking, partying, drugs, getting arrested. Addiction has always been one of my worst demons. Alcohol was especially like my biggest one for a good part of late middle school into like halfway through high school. Alcohol was a huge one for me. I was literally falling asleep with a bottle, waking up with a bottle, leaving home for weeks at a time, going out, partying, drinking, Anytime anybody said that they had alcohol or their parents had alcohol, I was like fiending for it. I was like, okay, you know what? Just wait till they fall asleep. Let me know. I'll crawl in the window. I'll get the beer. I'll get the liquor. I'll get the vodka. Whatever you got, I need it. I was willing to do literally anything for a fix. And it was just the same cycle over and over of self-hatred, of wanting to get better, but I just knew I couldn't. I'd sit there sipping on the bottles, smoking packs of cigarettes at a time, popping painkillers, chasing them with straight liquor. It was fucking brutal. I was doing all of this to mask like all of my mental health disorders that I had going on at the time, you name it, PTSD, depression, OCD, anxiety. But at the end of the day, I realized that shit wasn't gonna get me anywhere. And at that time, I had the wrong mindset of it's not gonna get me anywhere, but I was looking at the wrong aspects of it. So instead of realizing, oh, all of this drinking and booze and not doing anything about it isn't gonna get me anywhere, so I should get better, I was thinking in the opposite mindset of, well, this isn't going anywhere and I'm not going anywhere, so I might as well just take my life. Which then catapulted into me contemplating suicide on a daily basis and attempting it on a weekly basis. I was the most depressed I had ever been. I was so fucking sad. And then early in sophomore year, I want to say, I ended up having a skateboard accident and I broke my left ankle. It was busted all to shit. Dislocated. My foot was literally facing backwards. It was disgusting. I remember going to the hospital and I was just laying there looking at it. I was just like, this is life now. But as I was laying in that hospital bed and I was looking at my fucked up ankle, and I looked up at the ceiling, and I looked at my mom right next to me, I had this moment where it was like, not my life flashing before my eyes, but it was kind of like that. It was flashing in front of my eyes in a different way. It was kind of like in the I need to get my shit together type of way, because that was at a time when me and my mom definitely had a much worse relationship and we fought more than anything. And at the end of the day, all the times that I told her to go fuck herself, called her a bunch of names, brushed her off, or just ignored her, guess who was there? Guess who was the only person at the hospital with me? My mom. Right there holding my hand as I sat there screaming and crying as they relocated my ankle. The one person that was there for me through everything as a child that I told you guys about, through everything in middle school, high school, all my suicide attempts. And there was times where I had attempted suicide and she sent me to like a mental hospital and I hated her for it. But inside it, now today I realize she was just scared and trying to do what was best for me. Through everything, she was always there, no matter what happens. And I tell you this because there's so many times nowadays where people are like, I am so alone. I am so alone. I have nobody. But I'm telling you, just open your eyes. I promise, there is somebody around you, whether it's your parents, a friend, a girlfriend, whatever it is, a sibling. There's most definitely somebody in your life that you've been brushing aside that you need to thank. You need to thank them. And for me, it took me 16, 17 years to realize it, but it was my mother. And after that day, things changed for a little while. I was just, because obviously my ankle was broken, and that was around the time that the Thing-19 was starting, so I had no options besides just sitting at home and doing absolutely nothing. But that is definitely when me and my mom's relationship started to strengthen quite a bit. But then something devastating happened that I honestly, I was on the brink of going back to my old ways when I had heard about this and realized that it was gonna be a true thing. It was the fact that I was gonna be moving from Pennsylvania down to Florida, throwing away everything I ever had. All the friends, just everything. Anything I ever had. I was about to lose everything. I mean, as you guys can see, it happened. And when I came down here, I was the most depressed I had ever been. Constantly breaking down. Constantly having emotional fits. I was on the brink of because I live right next to a highway, I can't tell you how many nights I laid there. I was like, dude, everybody's asleep. I could climb out my window, go run in front of a goddamn Mack truck. Nobody would fucking know. And it went like that for a while until I realized I don't have to go out in some sort of like crazy, painful, getting smashed by a Mack truck way. I can just do it somewhat slowly. And that's when I started giving into an eating disorder, anorexia. That is also about the time that I started making videos on this channel. So if you go back and watch any of my videos that have face cam from, well, the time that I started using face cam, you can see it. I was severely malnourished, underweight. At my absolute lowest, I dropped down to literally 80 pounds. If you go back and watch any of my videos from like the early December, I want to say like early December of last year, you can see it. Like arms were thin as sticks. Like my hands were all dry. My face was all sucked in. I was all pale. Obviously, I never had any videos of me shirtless or anything like that. But my ribs were poking out. You know, my hips were sticking out like freaking rocks. But anyway, let's rewind just a little bit back to go back to when I first moved. Like I said, I was depressed as hell, and I was like, I'm done with this. And in a last-ditch effort for me to find something worth freaking living for, I decided to start uploading on this channel again. YouTube had been my dream since I was a little kid, man. I was sitting there like 5 years old. You guys, oh, you kids are so young. You guys probably weren't even there for it. There's a YouTuber named ForcedFire101. Oh my god. So many hours of entertainment. If you've never seen him, please go watch his videos. They're still up to this day. I still go back and rewatch them. ForcedFire101. He did these like stop motion Lego videos. You guys have to go watch them. They were so great. I watch people like him, Syndicate with like the round 1151 Kino. I remember watching that and having my mind blown when I saw that. Allier's old like Black Ops 2 videos. He used to do like these live gameplays. Man, Mr. Dally JD back in the day. Go back a little bit further. Yodi Slayer, Laggin 24X. Oh my god, White Boy 7th Street. And then this was a little bit later, but you know, you got like your Sky Does Minecrafts and all that. But yeah, I had a lot of influences. And I was like, you know what? Let me take another crack at this YouTube thing. Because back then, yeah, I made like an MW3 video in 5th grade with a friend of mine. It was really bad. And then I tried like a couple others. Some of the videos are still on this channel. They're like the first couple videos on this channel when I still had like red hair and everything like that. Yeah, those were like my stabs at trying again. They got a few hundred views, but I was like, eh. But anyways, once I had been down here and I decided like YouTube was my last ditch effort. If this doesn't work, I'm done. I started to upload every single day. It started in July of 2020. My first video that it's not my first video on the channel, but I consider it to be my first video because it was the first video that launched me into this reawakening process. It was a Call of Duty Modern Warfare live gameplay video. It was not very good. The audio mix was terrible, but I did these videos for a while. And you want to know something? It took 2 years for me to gain any traction. I started it in 2020. From 2020 up until 2022, just a couple months ago, you know, started picking up steam with a couple of the Call of Duty videos I made during like Vanguard. I made a couple that got like 300-400 views, something like that. It finally started picking up steam around like I'd say July or August of this year, so about 2 years exactly. When I first started, I had a couple videos that got like 5 views. I was like, oh my god, 5 people clicked, and then 10, and then 15, and then I remember one video got upwards of like 50. I was like, oh my god. There's people watching me, and I started getting more subscribers. I remember it took me a little while, but after a few months, I hit 200, and immediately I was just chasing that dopamine rush of hitting the next goal, getting just one more view on my video, getting one more like, getting one more subscriber. Next thing you know, 200. It took about a year, but we finally hit 300. Ever since we hit 300, it's just been skyrocketing. It's been like maybe what? Not even half a year since then. The last time that I cut my hair was for the 300 sub special. So clearly, I don't have that much hair. So it hasn't been that long. For that 2-year period where I was barely getting any views, like maybe, and sometimes I would get 0 views on a video. But I was just like, you know what, but what happens with the next video? This video didn't do good, but what if it's the next one that takes off? What if it's the next one? And it just kept going and going. And once I hit 300 subs and we just started going, I finally had that moment where everything just clicked in my mind. And I was like, this is it. This is everything that I've been fighting for in my life. Remember way earlier in the video when I had mentioned that anytime that things were going bad as a kid, I would stay up real late and play video games? I believe all of that happened for a reason. If it wasn't for all those bad things, I wouldn't have gotten to put as many hours into the video games as I did, and I wouldn't have fallen in love with it or have as deep of a connection with it as I do to this day, just simply due to the fact that, you know, I put so much time into them, and they were my escape, and they saved me from everything I was going through. So if I didn't have that deep love and connection with it on a personal soul level, and I didn't have the drive to make daily videos as I do on this medium, I don't think I would be where I am right now. I'm sorry if I've been like shifting this way the whole video, by the way. I just realized that. I'm trying to look at the camera and I'm trying to emote towards the camera. My phone is really weird because it's a really weird camera system. I'm sorry, I just wanted to apologize for that. I'll try to sit somewhat normally. I feel weird like turning my head and looking at it like that. I believe all those things were essential because, as stupid as it sounds, anytime I was going through anything bad in my life, all those times with the abuse as a kid, or the drugs, or the drinking, or the broken ankle, or the depression, or the suicide attempts, my getaway, my escape has always been video games. It has always been there to save me, and that is why I have such a deep love and connection to it. And I believe if it wasn't for me having such that deep love and connection to it, what are the chances that I would have had the drive to make a daily YouTube channel just centered around gaming, just playing for hours on end and editing that gameplay for hours on end? You know what I mean? I only do this because I have such a deep connection and love for the medium. If it wasn't for that, I'd make videos on 100,000 other things too. Now we're at a point where it's like, it's literally insane. Hundreds of people watch. Like, I can't fathom that. Do you know what it's like going from like an absolute nobody? Look, let me tell you guys something in real life. All my views on my videos, I have like hundreds of subscribers every night. I get like anywhere from like 1 to 500 views on my videos. In real life, I am a nobody. Not a single soul in Florida knows me. I do not leave this room. I record my videos, I edit them on that PC back there, I upload them, that is it. I go outside for runs, I know a few people in my neighborhood, sure, but I don't know anybody on a first name basis. I don't have any friends, I don't have any family, I cut everybody out of my life. The only people I know are my mom, my stepdad, and my siblings that I live with. And out of all of that, somehow, I have found a way to make my mark and stand my ground in this overly saturated market of internet content creation and internet influences and garner a following. I don't understand it. My brain cannot fathom hundreds of people clicking on my video. Like, I'm not trying to brag or anything, because it's nothing to brag about. I mean, it's not that many views in the grand scheme of things. I mean, you see other people like Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, you know, they got like hundreds of millions of subscribers, or like Mr. Beast getting like fucking like 100 million views per video. But it's like, it's still, that's a lot of people. And in real life, I'm just me. I feel like I'm in that scene from Kung Fu Panda where it's like, I'm just me, you know what I mean? If you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. I don't even understand it. I feel like such a boring guy in real life, but all of that is to say, all of this video has just been one giant shitstorm of whatever's going on in my head right now to tell you. No matter what has happened in your life, no matter what is happening in your life, no matter what you think about yourself, no matter what you think, it doesn't matter if you're skinny, fat, ugly, beautiful, hot, handsome, old, young, whatever. It doesn't matter what you are, what you think you're made of. All that matters is that you find something worth living for, something that drives you, something you're passionate about, and something that will make you feel complete. Because I can tell you, even though I don't do anything with my life besides play video games and make these videos, I feel complete. This is the happiest I've ever been, and the fact that I don't have anybody in my circle and there's nobody that I know in real life, I actually like that. I like being a ghost. I like living like this. I feel complete this way. There's no stress, there's no drama. I can live freely and the way I wish to live, and that really is just by myself, on my own, talking to you guys and sitting inside playing some games. That's how I want to live my life. Take control back of your life. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are now, because as long as you start taking steps to change your circumstances, eventually you will be where you want to be. You just need to drive yourself, stay committed, and work towards that damn goal. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you struggle with addiction, if you grew up with a bad family, if you've been through bad relationships. It doesn't matter where you are, who you are, where you've been, or where you think you're going right now. Anything can change. Life is a pile of shit. It is going to hand you a pile of shit cards every time. What you do with those cards, that's what counts. Also, just a little side note, I've been single for 3 years, so if you're depression inside of relationships, try going single for a while, because I can tell you, not only is this the happiest I've ever been, it's the most money I've ever had. Anyway, all that to say, just one final thank you guys for everything, because you guys saved my life. I'm not going to get emotional here, Grotesque hold back the tears, but if it wasn't for you guys, I'm not going to say it, but thank you. As always, a shout out to the patrons, Commerce Fake Grandma, Little Bitty Tab, Big Daddy Matty, and Desperado. You guys make these videos possible, and if you'd like to join, it's literally just $1 a month. If you help me out like crazy, and it would allow me to keep doing these videos. If it wasn't for you guys supporting me on Patreon, I wouldn't be able to do this on a daily basis, financially. Yeah, that's that. Always remember, you are beautiful. You are loved. You are here for a reason. You're going to do amazing things. It doesn't matter if you want to be a YouTuber, streamer, an OnlyFans star for some reason. It doesn't matter what you want to do. Construction, teacher, scientist, astronaut, whatever you want to do, take the steps now, and I promise you, you will reach your goals if you try. Stop procrastinating. Stop doubting yourself. The more time you spend doubting yourself and the more time you spend wasting on doubting yourself, like, you're not going to get anywhere. Well, what's that time going to do? You know what I mean? I hope this video helps somebody, and I hope it sticks with one of you today. Anyway, have an amazing day. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.